So I get asked all the time how I do it. Owner of CellBotics. I own a bookkeeping company. I'm a single mom. I sit on the board for Repairs First Association, the Gadget Repair Expo. I do consulting, coaching, so much. And yes, I do a lot, but I have a really amazing team. But it wasn't always this way. And I'm going to explain a little bit here of how I got here, how I got from growing up poor, being a single mom, to literally owning a business that I love. I work from home primarily. I can work remote from anywhere I want to. I have many different types of team members that I deal with that are very responsible and just all around awesome people. But how did I get here? It's not one answer. It's not go take this class or go buy this software. It's actually personality traits that I developed. So I wasn't actually equipped with those traits. And I think people believe that sometimes you have to be equipped with certain traits to be successful as an entrepreneur, but that's not true. You can actually develop the traits. And so I'm going to go over these traits, and there are 13 of them. Now, if you want to skip right to the 13 traits, you can use the timestamp below. But if you want to learn a little bit more about me and how I got here and the different things I went through to get me to where I am, listen in. I'm going to dive a little deep into my life and different things that I went through. But again, if you rather skip it, go down to the timestamps. So first off, I think it's really important for me to give you the definition of my success. What does success mean to me? What kind of boxes do I have to check before I say I am successful, right? And this is really a trigger to you. You need to write down what success actually means to you. What does it look like? When will you say you are successful? You can't just keep going, spinning your wheels and never giving yourself that, okay, I reached this item, right? And I am on my way to my meaning of success, right? And so here's mine. Steady take home of at least $10,000 a month with as much possible of it being passive. And you may say, wow, that's not very much. I know some of you make way more than that. Do I? Yes. That's my base minimum, and that's where I'm really comfortable because a lot of other things that make success for me are owning things debt free. And so I don't need to make a huge amount of money. I need to plan for retirement and all of those things, but I don't have to make $100,000 a month to live a happy life. I used to have those numbers in my mind. I wanted to make like $80,000 a month. I wanted to, have the big mansion, but I realized over the years that that actually did not make me happy. And so I changed my success meaning, which you can change yours. Things will be added to it. You'll take things off. You'll check things off. It changes with you. So freedom to take off when I desire. So I want to control my schedule, of course, with some rules, right? I can't just jump up in the middle of a meeting with a client and say I'm going to take the day off, but I can control my schedule. So I've reached that. That was one of my items that I really wanted and strived for years. Work from home. Again, I do that now. So I've reached that. Own my own home. I am mortgage free. I spent many years working really hard to pay off my mortgage. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Own my own property where my family can live. That's actually what I have. I have like a homestead, like a piece of land with multiple homes on it. And I've moved my family from different states onto one piece of land, and I absolutely love it. If you are someone that is thinking about that, or that is a dream of yours, do not let that dream die. I believe that this is something that needs to be normal. I feel like families just need to live on the same property together. Now, you don't always get along with your family, and sometimes it can be a pain to live right next to them. But 99% of the time, it has great benefits, and especially if you have kids and things like that, it's just, nothing is better than that, okay? Own my own car. I am in the middle of paying off my car and my daughter's brand new car, so I like new cars. I bought us each brand new cars, and that is one of my goals over the next 2 years is to pay off both of those vehicles, and I will do that. Be financially free of major debt. So I use debt to my benefit, especially with my business. And I do understand that debt can be very beneficial for those of you debt lovers out there, right? I'm not saying no debt, but I don't like to have major debt hovering over me. I do like to pay it off as quickly as possible. That's just me personally, okay? Some people just live with debt, and that's fine, and they're totally comfortable with it. I'm happy for you, okay? Travel at least 4 times a year. I do that. Ability to help my family when needed. I do that. Have a great team who works for me and can do tasks as needed. And I have that. And it took me years to get there. I was kind of the jack of all trades of the business, and I did most of everything. It took me a long time to get there. But now I've got many, I think we're up to over 15 now among the different companies and people I manage, maybe more than that. But own a piece of land in Florida by the beach and the Smoky Mountains, each with an RV on it. That's coming up in the next 5 years, maybe sooner, right? And so you may not know your meaning of success yet, but you do know how to hit the subscribe button. So stop and do it right now. A lot of you watch my videos, but you don't subscribe, and I don't know why. Please subscribe. Help me out. 2024, one of my goals is to grow this channel to 50,000 subscribers. I've got a long ways to go, but I could use your help, and I'm going to be putting tons of valuable information out there. So now that you know the meaning of my success, it can be wildly different from yours. But now we can actually talk about how I got here, and you'll understand why I made certain moves I made, right? And why I think the 13 items, traits that you need to have are so important. But if my meaning of success no longer interests you and you look at me like, oh Lord, this is nothing like I want to be a multimillionaire driving a Lambo, then you can click off. I totally get it, right? I feel like you do need to listen to people that are kind of aligned with what your goals are, because if you want to be someone that's making $100,000 a month, I'm probably not going to be able to help you get there, because it's not something that I have experience with or I'm even interested in. I'm more into life balance and, living your fullest life, not just making the most money, which money is very important. I love money. I think money is amazing. I don't think it's evil. I think it's just an exaggerator. So if you're an evil person, you're going to be more evil with money. If you're a good person, you're going to be more good with money, right? It's just an exaggerator, and it's a form of transfer of value. And so I may not be the best person for you to listen to if my goals, seem really petty and small to you. Because I actually used to think that success was big, huge home, a Mercedes, right? 100 grand a month, right? That's what I was striving for. And over the years, I realized it just wasn't what my happiness was. And I would like to also add, if having $100,000 a month income is what you absolutely want, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want you to feel bad about it. Good for you, and I hope that you reach that. So this is why success is so amazing, because we can all have our own meaning of success and achieve it. So how did I get here? You have to know what triggered my entrepreneurship journey in the first place. It was poverty. For most of my life, I grew up really poor with a single mom living in a rundown trailer park in Tampa, Florida. And I don't mean the nice side of Tampa. Surrounded by drugs, crime, and all the things that stood against me to reach success. I have friends that are dead, addicts, in prison. I grew up in a really rough area, and I had to really, really, really work hard not to end up like people around me did. Little known fact, I'm also a high school dropout, so yeah, I would have done that differently if I go back. I feel like school is actually an experience, and I would have stayed, but I did drop out in the 9th grade. And later, I did go back and get my GED. I did take some small college courses just for things like Excel and, like different softwares that I really needed to know as I started to grow on my business journey, but I actually don't have a full degree either. So if you're a dropout, this is for you. We can do it. If you have a college education, man, that's freaking awesome. It's one of the things that I wish I would have done a little bit more of, right? I always vowed to get out of where I was, take my family with me. That was kind of the narrative, right? As I was growing up, I was 14. I remember talking to my little sister, like, I'm going to get us out of here one day. Trust me. I'm going to have a property. We're all going to live on it. I don't know where, I don't know when, and I don't know how, but it's going to happen. And it's funny because we'll reflect on those conversations. Fast forward to me becoming a mom. Because otherwise, I'll be writing an audiobook here on YouTube if I went through my whole life. I had my daughter in 2008. By 2009, I was a single mom sleeping on my mom's floor in her 2-bedroom trailer in her living room. Thankfully, I knew that this was not for me and it was only temporary. I had a decent job, so I was able to pay for daycare, get back on my feet, and all of that. And then years prior to having my daughter, I actually had met a mentor. So by the time I had my daughter, I was already well on business ownership. I was still working, but at nights I ran my business, and on the weekends it was a bookkeeping business. I had a mentor named Debbie Clark. She just was amazing. She taught me everything I needed to know about business. She was very successful, her and her husband. And this is important for you to know. I did work a lot of time for her for free. She'd pay for my gas, but I'd go out to her house. She had a home-based business. Her husband traveled internationally for his business. And I just soaked up everything. I was like a sponge. Because this is really important for you to know, as it falls within the 13 things that I think you need as a successful entrepreneur. I worked in exchange for knowledge. Knowledge to me was extremely valuable. I'd never been around anyone like her, and I wanted to know what she knew, and I absolutely loved her. I really, really did. I looked at her more than a second mother. She was like a blessing from God into my life, right? Because without her, I wouldn't have even been able to take that leap. I may have, but I feel like she was a big part of that because I was just in such a poverty mindset. So she eventually bought me my first computer and an LLC. No one had ever done anything like that for me at all, ever. Okay. She even gave me my first bookkeeping client because she had an accountant business. So it was just a true blessing for me. And all of the hard work that I'd put in and, always making sure that I was there for her. She was always there for me. It was just really awesome. So by 2009, my child's father was doing flea market booths and wanted to bring me in on it. Fast forward to 2011, there were multiple flea market booths running, and they were selling gadgets and all types of random things, from sunglasses to CDs to jerseys to phones to tablets, right? I was still not as good as him at sales, believe it or not. I was actually an introvert. A lot of people meet me and they can't believe that, but yeah. But I was good at record keeping for businesses and I understood auditing and all of that. And he did not listen to me. He insisted on running the business under the table to evade the IRS. And I see a lot of that these day and age where you see people saying, oh, I'm taking this car on write off. I'm taking this fuel on write off. I'm taking this dinner on write off. And it's really nothing to do with their business. And that is a slippery, slippery slope, let me tell you, because I have been a part of many audits. Through my bookkeeping business, people will hire me to go to audits with them as a consultant. I have a team of people that work for me, so I don't actually like sit and do books during the day. I'm not doing that. But if there's a high-end client that needs some specialized attention, I will do that through a consultation. And I have seen what happens when you get caught taking vehicles on write-offs that are not for the business or gas that is not for the business. I do not evade the IRS, but he did. Okay. So he was audited multiple times and then eventually all of his bank accounts were frozen. And I believe that's what drove him to commit suicide, but I'm not exactly sure. So in 11/11/11, I'm left with a huge mess, totally alone to raise my then 3-year-old daughter, with little understanding of what direction I wanted to go in. And I was living in New Orleans, totally out of Tampa. I didn't know anybody there. It's crazy. And then to top it off, a month later, Debbie Clark passes away. So I really had no one. But I pulled it together. I had to, and eventually opened more locations and relocated to Georgia. And I was making tons of money, lots of cash flow. I was running the business as 100% legal. I do not try to escape the IRS. And a major turning point towards my success is when I found a rundown mobile home park with 4 mobile homes in it, 6 lots, and I bought it. I got it on financing. I finally had land and homes to bring my family to. My mother and I spent 2 months with our own hands and a couple of Craigslist workers fixing the houses to make them livable. I wish I would have thought of TikTok. I don't even think TikTok was then, but I should have started a YouTube channel then and documented all of that housework we did. But 2 months later, my sisters moved in, my mom, myself, and we've lived here ever since. Within 6 years, I worked hard, repaired every device me and my team could with these little hands, trained as many new business owners as I possibly could, and I paid off my mortgage. Now I'm mortgage free. Yes, however, I was working day and night, 7 days a week with no time off. So, number one on my list is that I believe you must possess the ability to sacrifice. And sacrifice in a wide range of ways. Some people don't like the word sacrifice. They say perseverance and stubbornness, right? And those are great too, right? But when you're going through it and you're tired and you can't go to the Christmas parade, right? With your kids, it's sacrifice. Okay? Call it whatever you want. Okay. It's up to you how you label it. I sacrificed time with my family, time doing fun things, relaxation time, sleep time, time for my health, sacrificed all of that, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, I took trips, but I had to work really, really hard to get those trips. I was running CellBotics, training 2 classes a month, a lot of times training alone, and it was extremely draining. My team was doing repairs, building our B2B offerings, and just expanding. There's just so much going on throughout these years. Um, the whole time I was also a single mother, and I was even maintaining still my bookkeeping clients. In 2020-ish, like that area, I realized I could not do this any longer. I was actually hospitalized with pancreatitis. And before y'all that know about pancreatitis start to call me an alcoholic, it was not because of alcohol. I had some sort of sickness. It probably was COVID at that time. And they had given me a ton of antibiotics and it caused an issue with my pancreas. So I went into Atlanta at literally 9 a.m. one day to go just work for the day with my team. I had 35 staff at that time on site. And I walked in, and by 12, I was in the Atlanta hospital on morphine, being told I would be kept there until further notice. It ended up being almost a month, and I was 2 hours away from my daughter, who was a young teen at that time, and my family. So it was very hard, and it was a big eye opener for me. After being able to be coherent after a week or two, because they just kept me on pain meds and I couldn't eat food at all. I was just on IV. Once I started to just really have time to think, right, I was like, okay, I have got to start my new path of my success, that second part, right? So number two of my must-haves would be being able to realize when there is an issue and make a tough choice. I did not stop training in Atlanta because of the money. This is a this is where the misconception comes in from a lot of people. When they see a business close, they think it was because of the money. Everybody thinks that, but it's not what it is. It was the impact on my health. Be it the 2 hour drive each way, training 12 hours a day. I don't know. The energy that you have to put into when you are training someone and doing it for over 10 years, your body gets worn down. And I think that's what happened to me. So by this time, I had started to build a relationship with Shura Ward in Philly. She was going to take over my role in 2023. We actually officially made that happen. I closed the Atlanta location and moved our in-person training to Philly. And by the way, Shura is way better than I ever was. And I'm being totally honest here. This is not a sales pitch. Shura is a great technician. She has 2 MBAs, so she knows a lot. I mean, she's just so super smart. And now she's training our in-person classes, and I work with her daily. I mean, I'm still very involved. She just teaches the class. So now I'm able to take CellBotics full steam ahead online. And here's my number three, being able to handle multiple projects at once. This is a really important skill because when you're going from like working a job to then being a jack of all trades because you don't have enough money to hire someone and you have to do your business at night and then work during the day. Then you go to hiring people and then you change your business model. That doesn't all happen at once. They overlap. Because you can't say, I'm going to close my location and go online. Well, what happens with your money flow, right? So you have to be able to do many different things at one time and not feel overwhelmed. And I do feel like feeling overwhelmed is sometimes a choice. I feel like we let it get to our heads way too much, okay? You've got a lot going on. Good. Make your life full. That's how I look at it. I'm like, my life is full. That's good. I kind of get stressed out when there's nothing going on. I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? You know what I mean? I'm supposed to make the full list of every hour of every day of my life. So this leads me to number four, which would be if someone else can do it, give it away. Give it away. If you can hire a VA, if you can train someone to do it, do it. This is my motto now. If there is something that I need to do and it can be given to one of my team members, you better darn be 100% sure it's being given to them to do. Okay. Uh, Adopt that mindset. It will totally change your business. Okay. So fast forward to today. December 28th, 2023, I'm loving life. I've reached most of my success meaning goals. They have changed, right? Remember, I wanted to make 100 grand a month at one point, okay? I'm headed to get the rest of them. It's going to happen, right? I'm always adding more and changing things. I have great visibility in the industry, and I'm actually considered an intricate part of the industry, which I take very seriously. I am ensuring CellBotics growth and spreading the word about what we do. Shura is training the cell phone repair training classes. Michelle is training the computer repair classes. We have tons of online offerings. I do coaching and consulting. Our online team is the best of the best, and we're offering more online stuff every single day. Additionally, throughout this time, I was brought on the board for Repairs First Association and Gadget Repair Expo. I have started even a few other companies, which I'm not going to go into that because that's just a whole other story. But yes, I own other companies. So it's just great. And it's all about team and people. So it's an amazing time. And I would not have gotten here without number 5. You must be the visionary and set time aside to vision. You cannot have vision and be creative if you're always doing busy work. You've got to have hours throughout the day or maybe throughout the week, right? Where you say, okay, for these 5 hours, I'm just going to skim the internet and come up with fresh ideas and read a book. Because I mean, I don't read books. I do audiobooks. I fall asleep when I read, right? But I skim the internet. I look for ideas. I just brainstorm. I think of my question is always ask myself, what is a need? And how can I fill it? What is a need? How can I fill it? What is a need? How can I fill it? That's how I come up with new ideas. So I'm almost done, but I want to finish this by saying I cried a lot through these times. And let's be honest with you, sometimes I still do. Sometimes I'm very emotional. I feel like quitting. I have my days where I'm overwhelmed. I have a counselor, right? I feel like having a counselor is a healthy thing, right? I fail at things. I put money into things and they don't work, right? Happens all the time. But there are so many more things that I have put in time and money into and they have worked, right? I make mistakes, right? But I've learned how to say sorry and say that I've made a mistake. I always shake out of it. And that's a muscle that built over time. In the beginning of business, when I failed, it was like my life was crumbling apart. Don't let that happen to you. That didn't work. On to the next. That didn't work. That didn't work. Oh, that didn't work. And you just keep going. Okay. I have control of my future and my income, and that's really what I wanted. I wanted control of my time and my life, and that's where I'm at. So I'm happy. So let's recap the 13 things I believe every person needs to succeed as a personality trait. If you listened while I gave all that detail, thank you. You know a little bit more about me. If you didn't, that's okay. I want to learn more about you guys. Comment below, like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Like and subscribe. Help me out, please. Okay. I'm going to be putting out a ton of amazing content in 2024. I cannot wait. So, number 1, you must have the ability to sacrifice and stay the course. Listen, if you're just now starting a business or you have a business and you've been at it for a while and you feel kind of burnt out, you probably already know sacrifice. If you're just starting out, you probably don't quite have an understanding of how deep it's going to get. If you're someone that likes to watch TV all the time with your family and you have this beautiful schedule where you guys spend the weekends together going hiking, this is probably going to change for a number of years because you're going to have to put that into your business. Now, do you have to? Maybe not. You probably could find someone else that says you need to maintain your normal schedule. But I can tell you from building a business from the ground up, I didn't buy a franchise. I didn't have someone to tell me how to do things, that I had to sacrifice time and change my schedule. And my family did come at a sacrifice. I will tell you this, if you sit down and talk to your family and say, for the next 2 years, I'm going to dedicate every extra minute to growing this business, and this is why I'm doing it, and I need your support. Sit with your kids and your spouse and let them know that this is happening, then at least they know what to expect instead of you just blindsiding them. And then it's like you're just never available and they don't understand what your plan is or what's going on. Okay. Being able to realize when something isn't working. You have got to be able to say this isn't working and make a choice and make it happen. If it's closing the business, starting a new one, taking it in a different direction, adding someone on, selling it, adding a new product, dropping a product, you just need to say, it's not working. Let me change it. Right. And you can really, 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 you know, deep dive into your numbers and figure out what's not working, but don't linger on it. I see a lot of people, when things aren't working, they kind of linger on it. And I've even done that myself. And it gets more painful and painful and painful. Just make a choice and do what needs to be done. If someone else can do it, give it to them. Hire someone and let it be over with, okay? Just train them to do it and be done with it. Okay, number 5, you must be the visionary and set time aside to vision. I already spoke about this, but you need to be creative when it comes to your business. So now here are a few things that I did not touch on in my life story, but are still things I think that you need to have. Number 6, must be able to manage money. If you are broke now and your saying is, I get paid and I don't know where the money goes, it's going to be the same thing when you have a business. So get that under control. I will tell you this. If you have a job right now, you're thinking about opening a business or you're doing a little side hustle, take all of your money in cash. If you have a really hard problem managing money, and use the envelope stuffing system. That's a great way to start. And then you can start transferring it into using your debit card. Because I find that people that mismanage money, it's really hard to manage money when it's all in one bank account. But when you take all of your payments, all of your income out in cash and stuff envelopes and use cash to make payment, and you say this envelope is for groceries, well, when it's empty and you're like, oh my goodness, okay, I've already overdone my budget, then it's just much more real for you, okay? Next is going to be change your mindset about money and learn that sometimes debt is required in business and it is an asset to use. Do not be afraid of money. Money is not evil, but don't run out and take a loan for the money to sit, okay? I'm going to make other videos about this, about taking loans and how to properly use them. Another reason to hit subscribe right now, okay? But one of my, just shortly tell you, is take a loan, but have a plan for it before you take it. So I'm going to make a video about specifically just that, okay? Next would be must be able to take the hits as they come. Listen, there is going to be a lot of downs and a lot of ups when you are in business, okay? And sometimes the downs are more frequent than the ups, especially in the beginning. And you've got to be able to take the hits as they come and not run off and, do what my child's father did, right? So, I mean, all joking aside, you've got to be ready to just take it. It's going to be emotionally draining sometimes, okay? Because you put your heart behind a business. You put everything you got into it, your blood, sweat, money, right? Time. But you've got to be willing to take those hits and keep going forward. Next, you must be willing to see what's on the other side of your vision when no one else does. Those naysayers, they're going to be there, okay? Which kind of goes to my next one, which is you must be able to set boundaries with your family and friends. Who do you surround yourself with? Does this need to change? And then help amazing people that you look up to for free, not to copy them. You don't go to someone that owns a dry cleaner and say, hey, I look up to you. They have a dry cleaning business in your town. I look up to you, man. You're a great guy. Anything I can help you with. And then go and open up next door to them, become their competitor. That is so wrong. But you more can go to these people in your life that maybe maybe you're not that close with, but you really wish you were in that kind of energy space and say, hey, I know you don't know me that well, but I want to upgrade the people I'm around and that are in my life. Is there anything I can do for you for free? I'm not trying to copy what you do. I don't want to do what you do, but I just love how you do business. And I look at you and your professionalism and your energy, and man, I just want to be around that. What can I do for you? I don't want anything in return. And this is literally how I learned. I learned through a mentor that I was like, oh, no, you don't have to pay me. I'm there. I'm there. What do you want me to do? You want me to file stuff? I'll file stuff. I just want to hang out with you. It was literally what it was. Okay. But she did pay me, but not all in the beginning, like first couple of months, it was just me going over there and just learning things because I couldn't really help her because I didn't know anything anyways. I was just lucky that she let me around her. And then also, even later in business, I would work with people in the industry that I didn't quite know, but I looked and I said, wow, this person is, man, they got some drive, man. And I really want to work with them. And I just say, hey, how can we collaborate? How can I work with you? What can I do? Oh, well, we really could use help with this. Okay, done. Got you. You want some images? Maybe I can make some images. Want me to do some posts? I'll do some posts. I was just open and willing to work with everyone. And I still am, right? Because I still have a lot of growth And so you can do the same thing. Next would be, if you cannot afford to hire someone to do it, then you must 1000% be willing to master it yourself. During the first 5 to 6 years of being in business, I did it all. From bookkeeping to the ads to doing the images, right? And I had to learn those skills. It wasn't like I was just born knowing how to use Canva, you know what I mean? Or QuickBooks. I had to learn, okay? Because I couldn't afford to hire anybody to do it, I thought, because I had not yet learned that you hire people, then you make money. Because my goal now is just networking and relationships, because in the core of it, being an owner is just relationships. And so my job is to empower my team and then make more relationships and clients, of course, to bring in revenue, right? So next would be willingness to be visible and build relationships. So I kind of just led up to that. The core of a business is that the owner and the CEO is basically just making relationships. That's what you're doing. You're networking, going to events, expos are so, oh my God, they're so valuable. Talking to people, having lunches, having Zoom calls, checking in on people, sending those random emails, right? It's really, really important. Jumping into somebody's LinkedIn box, and don't just say good morning. Those are the worst. Like you're giving me nothing. I'm busy, and I see a message. I don't know what you want. Are you asking me out, or you want to talk business? Are you gonna pitch me something, right? No. Hey, good morning. Just checking on you. Love what you're doing. Really inspired by you. If there's anything you need help with or want collaborating on, here's my skill set. Don't want anything from you. Just think you're freaking awesome, and would love to get to know you more and just consider you someone in my network. That's it. Just be straightforward. Stop beating around the bush, right? Next, and number 13, final, you really need to know how to do this. Hit the subscribe button. No, really, subscribe. Subscribe to the best channels that you can find with the information that you need. I can't tell you how much I've learned from people on YouTube. YouTube is freaking amazing. So that was my 13 items that you need to be a successful entrepreneur. Check below the video for a lot of awesome links. If you do want to do private coaching with me, there's also a link for that. I do like monthly sessions, and there's also a bunch of other information about CellBotics and what I do. Thank you guys so much for watching this far. If you got here, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.